Cancer, how you doing? Welcome to your weekly reading here on the Astroflower, going from the 22nd to the 28th of April. Yeah, the sun's just kicked back in. So it seems to be putting into action lessons learned through life and working on the next phase of your evolution. That's what it appears to be in the weekly readings this week. If you want to know more about the energies, you'll have to go over to Cymatic TV, our sister channel. Linked in the description. It'll be around my head at the end of this reading. Let's just go in for you. Overall energies here. Karmic message on your relationship side or emotional side. Karmic influence in the universe, influence in past self, future self, and general outcome. Okay, so let's just see what's going on for you. Ace of Swords. This is it. It's all about action. Let's see what the overall energy is bringing in for you here. People are coming to you. This is what the crowning thing is all about. I think people are coming to you and it's making your life easier because you don't actually have to go looking for it. That's the feeling that the overall energies here is bringing you this crowning glory rather than you having to go and look for it. And it's gonna make you feel like you're finally we're winning at life. You know, that sort of thing. Yeah, happiness after difficulty on your karmic path here. Happiness is not dependent upon another person. That is the most important thing. And I think this is what the realization comes out of this. Obviously, there is, there's, I always say there's 7 pleasures in the world, 7 wonders of the world, right? Very simple things. It's in with the T meditation. You can find that, I think, on a website. But the magical ingredient, which is the 8th ingredient, is sharing. And yes, I do believe that sharing is very, very important. So happiness, you might say, can depend on other people. But at the same time, it has to originally come from you. You have to be happy to be doing something or, sharing something or, happy being with that person. If it's not initial within you, then the sharing thing is, yeah, it's not so magical, is it? So, I think that's what you're understanding this here and putting that into action. Yeah, the universe here is relinquishing you from woes and repetitive nightmares. And I think this is where you've got to realize that. The universe is sort of saying that's over and done with, I think. It will test your mettle, though, sometimes, I think, the universe. It will sort of kind of go, let's see if Cancer is really understood. And it'll give you a little bit of stress and strain. And if you just allow things to come to you, I think this is what's going to make it really good for you. Yeah, in your past self, I think you've had a really good run over the last month and a half. Things are really picking up. You're a lot more sort of vibrant. You've got a lot more energy flowing through you. And this means that from past actions, there are fruits that are available. There are options in your life in regards to relationships, in regards to spiritual growth, in regards to happiness. I think that's a precursor to that sort of thing. I think that setting it up might have been a little bit difficult, and it might have even been over the last sort of 4 or 5 months that it's been difficult, or 4 or 5 months ago, it might have been difficult. And now in the last 2 or 3 months, it's been swinging into action where things are becoming a lot more easier for you. Your future self. Being the best example of yourself. I think you've got to avoid conflict more than anything else. And I think that's tied into that. I think your future self is sort of saying to you, learn those lessons of a conflictual past. And this person here takes that wand, if you can well see that, takes that wand and is relieving, is leaving a chaotic 4 of wands, which is a unison. And I think you've got to remember this. I think in the future, you've got to remember that. You've got to remember not to repeat the same things, not to go back on yourself. And I think your future self here is sort of saying, now that you can get that into place, don't forget it. Don't forget it. That sort of thing. With this, don't forget it, of being the best example of yourself. I think this is where you're out of this week here is, I think you're being more selective about where you invest your energy, your emotions, your time in all the relationships that are around you. I think you're being a lot more selective. And this is what has been also coming out over the last couple of weeks. It's all about quality rather than quantity. That's what it seems like. And I think this is the lesson, the learning curve you're doing this week. But the universe is bringing everything to you. It's not going to be a difficult lesson. It doesn't seem to be highly emotional because there's no cuts on it apart from that. And once you learn that the happiness is within you, that's when you will it will be so rewarding for you. Let's see what goes on your financial side. Karmic path. Either you're making a plan or you're working on a plan. Whatever it is, there seems to be a certain degree of movement within your career path. This could be in a physical sense, but it's not like continual movement, short movement. It's like a one-time long movement. That's the sort of thing. Or or you're working, or you're doing a lot of moving because people are contacting you. Your business is increasing. You're getting a lot more offers of opportunities and stuff like that. But working on the plan as it all comes in, don't get sidetracked on necessarily one thing. Make sure you're sticking to the plan. So if you need, let's say like you're building a house and you need money there, therefore you're going to kind of go, well, I've got this job, it's fine. I don't need to really look at that anymore, but I can concentrate on that other aspect of it all. So it's not just like putting all your eggs in one basket, basically. Yeah, the universe here is sort of saying, don't forget, you have chosen this direction to take. And I think this is where the universe will be constantly like prodding you as if to sort of say, hey, Cancer, hey, don't forget, path, you chose it, you've got to take it. And this is on the financial side. So it's a very logical decision that you're making, or you've made in regards to finances, job, and etc. From your past, yeah, I think it's like you got on this side here, you got the Nine of Wands on Nine of Pentacles on that side. I think you've learned a lot. I think this is one of your major strengths. Either you've done an online course, or or you've done some sort of education or training or something like that. You've done that, and that is actually the most valuable thing within you more than anything else. It is also a case of, this is where it's opening the doors to work towards things that are going to bring you the rewards, that's going to put you in a very strong position within like your family or your friends or your community. So you feel a lot more comfortable about your position within the whole lot. Temperance. This is your future self. That is always a choice. Twos are always a choice. And it may be a case here of implementing this plan or working on a plan. Whichever way it is, I still think there's a bit more, I think there's a lot of movement in there. And I think in the next week or so, after the 28th, this is where you've got to be a little bit patient. So it's like you've planted the seed, and you're not going to dig up the seed to see if the roots have started. You've got to wait for the leaf to come up, the first shoots. And I think that's where your patience needs to come in. Just know that you're on the right path. Working to your longer term plans, I think, will be very, very beneficial. Things will be coming to you. Yeah, out with the old and in with the new. I think you've got the measure of life in a way. Look at this, 2 aces on there. With the king and queen of King of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. There's a lot of solid movement or solid direction being taken here. And the offer that's coming into you, the offer that's coming into you is going to be your crown and glory. It's bringing it into you. Is going to feel like that. Okay, this is a watershed moment for me. We have, your start earning, where once you start earning, that's when you're going to realize you can really take it to the next level. You can take it to the bank, as it were. And this is making you very passionate about, okay, if that's possible now and that's safe, how can I move on to the next stage? And this is where you got to be patient and allow things to grow slowly but surely. For you, more than anything else. The 8 of Wands wanting to jump out. It's a good message for you, that. Right, okay, let's see what's going on in the overall energies. Yeah, out with the old and in with the new. Look at that. That's what is really running through you more than anything else. And I think you're more concentrated on your financial side than on your relationship side. I think it's smaller increments on the relationship side. And that's allowing you to really put your passions into your financial side. And as I say, I think the overall energies are bringing it to you, bringing things, opportunities to you constantly. They're really investing in your crowning moment more than anything else. Let's just go on with the karmic 10 of cups with the 10 of cups. This is a real list. This is something that you definitely need to learn. That is what you need to learn. On your relationship side, what I was talking about, the happiness has to start with you. Once it starts with you, you are no longer dependent upon anybody or anything for your happiness. And you can turn it on at any time. Obviously, you don't want to be running around like a lunatic, smiling all the time. Well, I smile loads, but you know what I mean. You're not just laughing your head off all the time. You're being, there is serious times in that. But yes, knowing that happiness comes from you, I think, is really important. And I think you're being tested to see whether you've got that really embedded within you by the universe. Yeah, this is it. This is where the universe is sort of saying, I'm going to test you. But the only reason we're testing you is because we want you to go towards your happiness. We want you to go towards those 2 10s. The universe will encourage you by giving you a little prod every now and then, as if to sort of say, Cancer, don't forget about your happiness. Like it's giving a prod on that side, as if to sort of say, don't forget about the path you're on. Not every fruit comes to fruition. Okay? But if you nurture that plant, you've got a much greater chance of happiness. So I would, and this is where I think the 4 of Pentacles comes into play in the overall outcome. You're working towards that, and you've got to realize that sometimes maybe you've got to nip things in the bud. Excuse me. You've got to nip things in the bud before you get disappointed. And you've apparently learned this already. You've got that under your belt. And it's a case of applying it. And I think that's what as I said, I think that's what that 4 of Pentacles is all about. Yeah, it's so obvious in the future. Being your higher self, not getting involved in any sort of conflictual situations, not going back to the past that was complicated. Because on this card here, the influencing thing is that basically, there is only one cup out of all these cups that are giving that beautiful water. That's what cups should be doing. And I think you're recognizing the obvious path that enables you to be the best person you are. Ooh, King of Pentacles wanted to come out. You're going to get that as well. King and Queen of Pentacles. No, sorry. King of Pentacles and Queen of Wands. I think if you're very, very select over how, who you give to and what you give to in the way of emotions, energies and stuff like that, I think in the future, it's going to bode really, really good quality relationships and really, really good quality time. And I think it's going to be quite diverse because, you've got the Queen of Wands there. but it allows you to explore various different passions in life, which helps you. It's all to do with your understanding as well. And I think this is what this understanding here is doing. Once you start enacting that and realizing your happiness is only dependent upon you, that's when things are going to really go good. It's going to really go good for you. Right, let's just see what's going on your financial side. Sticking to the plan, and it may, obviously, let's just say your plan is to be a billionaire, right? Even if you won the lottery, you still wouldn't be a billionaire. It's not going to happen overnight. So I think there is a degree here of sticking to the plan, but also lofting dreams, allowing dreams to just exist within your main goal of where you want to be. And you've got to work to that dream. And I think this is where the universe is going to help you and prod you a little bit to keep you on the pathway. With the moon card here. Okay, it's like you meet someone down a cafe, right? And you know them reasonably well. You talk to them, you explain your situation, they explain their situation at the moment, and everything like that. And then they happen to sort of speak to someone else, and that person happens to be looking for exactly the sort of person that you are, etc., for a job. And then they call you, yeah. And it's like a coincidence that sort of happens that everything seems to be. There's a lot of coincidences here that are coming from the outside world, and really coming from left field, really coming from out of the blue more than anything else. That's what I feel here, and it's going to help you to keep you on your track, and the universe is really putting in a good shift for you here, Cancer. And I would be very attentive to the coincidences. You got the High Priestess with the King of Pentacles. As I said, the King of Pentacles here is giving you that foundation that now that one thing is working, we can move on to something, we can move on to the next stage. And that's where you're going to start dreaming again. This is where you can use your intuition from the past of looking at very simple steps that you've been doing in order to get to where you are today. And the natural progression of that, of how it goes forward, is really is the driving force. And that's when you're going to use your intuition. And that's why I think you're going to need a little bit of patience in the future, because it's putting into action that dreamy, lofty idea of the impossible, because it may become possible. Let's see what the Temperance is doing here. You've got the Four of Cups. Yeah, this is it. I think once this week here, that this offer that's coming into you, that gives you that foundation, that gives you that real sort of like, the first step on the journey of making pure success in your life. As that comes in, you're going to have to start distilling things in life in order to, taking the essence of your career path or your material life or your house or whatever you're doing, whatever projects you're doing, whatever businesses you're doing, whatever you're doing, and you're going to have to distill it a bit, and that's going to need a little bit of a mulling over. You've got to working things out, and I think that's what the future self-with is all about, and that's why I think there's a little bit of patience in this, and I think you'll have enough to concentrate on with this new offering, with this Ace of Wands that comes into your life. With the Nine of Wands out the top. Now, there's 3 nines on the table, which is pretty good. I'm always a good fan of nines. This offering here is allowing you to go off on your journey. And I think you should follow this offering here. And it almost feels like, because it's part of the plan, it almost feels like it's too good to be true. So as you approach this offer, I would also have the hindsight and the checklist, as to sort of say, come on, got to be sure about everything. So I'm not just walking into this blindly. I think that's really important because of that foundation. I think it's a stepping stone. It's a very good stepping stone from across the river until you get to your heart's desires and your ultimate position of what you want to be in regards to all your material world. And that's going to need some form of healthy boundaries. So you don't end up just working for nothing, sort of thing. There you go, Cancer. Thank you very much for being with us. Really do appreciate it. Hope you get the best out of these readings. I hope it helps you to confront life in a really positive way. Yeah, and there's all that stuff on Cymatic TV, the channel all about energy as well, which you find linked at the bottom of the screen or linked around my head. So I'll either see you there or here, whichever way it is. It'd be lovely to see you again. In the meantime, don't forget the live should be fun, so please do enjoy.